You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Put that coffee down.
I'm a British nanny, and I'm dangerous.
It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
That was totally wicked!
It's the Al Travis Show. We're lucky to have him, Representative Tim O'Driscoll, with us today. Tim, Representative, how you doing, sir?
I'm well. Yourself?
Can't complain. We complained a little bit on the weather before we got started. Even if it wasn't the weather, and it's really just the humidity. I enjoy a 85-degree day. The humidity just makes it seem so much harsher. The only thing I would complain about is the mosquitoes are worse this year than I can remember for a long, long time. We've had enough rain, enough puddles.
A lot of rain, and that kind of stuff. And that's the breeding grounds for mosquitoes.
So it is what it is. It's summer in Minnesota, and the days are getting shorter. So that's not a good thing.
Yeah, let's have this conversation. It's the middle of July. Let's have this in the middle of January, and then we're going to go,
I wish I'd have that
momentum. I wish.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, that's the beautiful part of Minnesota. We get it all here, and you can complain about whatever you don't like. Quick rapid-fire question for you, sir, as we continue to play our game. What's the last photo you took on your fancy phone? What?
Well, the reason I'm laughing is I'm a practical kind of guy, right?
Yeah.
So my shopping list for the grocery store doesn't become writing stuff down. It becomes taking pictures and then standing in the aisles at the grocery store, flipping through this and going, did I get it this time? Did I get that last time? So it's like I never said, okay, this is the last shopping trip and delete stuff. So, yeah, I call it practical. Others call it boring. Whatever.
Oh, no, that's okay. My wife, because there's too many of the same kind of dog chow at Baumgart's, right? All in the white bag with the different dog face on it, and they got chicken and herbs, whatever they got. I always get the wrong one. Before I leave to shop, my wife will take pictures of the things I have issues with, like what dog stuff to get, so I get the exact same thing. It's not that weird. I have pictures of dog food on my phone. So I
guess that's why I laugh, because it's not like, oh, it's a great sunset or this great thing. It's like, nope, it's a can of Campbell's soup, or whatever. So.
I can live with that. Okay, that makes you very human. I love that a lot. All right, we're going to talk some stuff today, and I find this, it isn't weird. So the story comes out that Governor Walz, who was asked to come talk at the U.S. Capitol about immigration policy, him and three other Democrats, it's obviously there's a reason the Republicans are calling for it, right, wrong, or different, I don't care. But it comes out that Governor Walz hired an outside law firm for $430,000 to prep him. And again, I think a guy should be prepped. I think if the governor's getting called in, he should probably have people help him. But why does he need $430,000 in an outside law firm when he himself has lawyers on staff? He's got actually the people that are in charge of those bills, at least for him signing them, telling him what they're all about. He's got an AG's office that is only lawyers. Why are we picking up the tab for this, sir? Is that normal?
The governor does have some gubernatorial discretion with some executive money and things. I'm with you. We have internal people. If this was Tim Walz being asked, why is Tim Walz doing something?
Yep.
But he's represented, this is the position of the state of Minnesota. Whether you agree with that or not, if he sells it as a position of official duty and acting in its official capacity, then he says taxpayers can pay for that. The part that I find really troubling on this is we have so much fraud that's been going on and so many other problems that, with Feeding Our Future and all these other kinds of nonprofits that are absconded with money in our $18 billion surplus. And now we're turning around and saying, well, I couldn't trust the people in the state of Minnesota, and the elected officials and the people in my staff and the other attorneys that are around here to help brief me. I needed to go out and I needed to hire attorneys at $516 an hour to be able to help brief me on stuff I should already know about, because I've been running around the country and the state preaching that this is the new way.
See, but even at that, you say $500 an hour. Was that in the bill? I'd love to see the line item invoice on this, because even if you take $1,000 an hour, sir, that's 430 hours in the 2 weeks' time. that they went from asking him to be there to being at the Capitol, even if that you know what I'm saying, 430 hours, that's how many full-time weeks? 10? Some human for 10 straight? That's amazing.
That's not one person for that 400 hours, right? That's legal staff, and that's,
sure.
You know, well, we put a letter in an envelope that was $14 for you, and we put a postage stamp on it, and that was $14 because we had to go to the post office and buy the stamp. And
see, but that's kind of the point by hiring outside law firms. You have people who, when you made your immigration policy, whatever that was, your lawyers, your people said, here's why we're doing it. It fits our laws. Whatever the thing is, they came up with it. I'm not a lawyer. Don't know if it's right. But by hiring an outside law firm, and let's say $1,000 an hour, they have to come into Minnesota, get all the paperwork, read up on where we're at, see if it fits in our Constitution. You're paying for them to catch up to what the people in Minnesota, the lawyers that work for you, already know.
Well,
right?
and the other part of that is all of the stuff that you just mentioned should have been vetted out before the policy was adopted. If you did your homework, and your due diligence, then you know what the answer is. And how many Supreme Court justice nominees have we seen that have gone before the question firing squad in the Senate for confirmation, who have had nothing in front of them and are able to articulate their legal work and the work that they've done on the bench in the lower courts and stuff meticulously, and people are like, "Yep, you're right. My notes say that." And why is it different for Governor Walz? And obviously, I shouldn't say obviously. It appears to me that in this particular situation, the governor knew that he had a problem, and he was trying to figure out how he could run different screens to questions that were asked by congressional members.
All right, and we all paid for that. That is my issue, because I guess even if you're going into the firing squad that is these congressional hearings, if you just tell the truth, there it is. You know what I'm saying? This is why we did it. This is where we did it. This is what my lawyers told me why we could do it. Yeah, okay, go figure it out after that. I just don't see where we get $500,000, of my money going towards it. Let's move on a little bit. Walz came out and said, and this is just complete conjecture on my part, he came out and said, should he run for governor, he's going to have more money than you can shake a stick at, more than anybody's ever had before in the history of everybody who ran here. And I presume that's because now he has all these big muckety-muck people that he knows because he ran for vice president. Good for him, right? I mean, you meet people, you shake people, they like your hand. Shake your hand, they like you, they'll send you money. Would it be interesting to see if anybody from this law firm donates to him?
Well, that's a great question, and I'll even take it one step further. I thought you were going to say that, well, when you were saying, I can raise more money than anybody else, it's like, okay, you probably can. Mm-hmm. But let me help you with this. You don't have the majority of the people of the state of Minnesota wanting you to be governor again. As a matter of fact, they're hoping you take a pass. Kamala Harris came in after they told Joe Biden it was time for Joe to step back. And Kamala came in and raised $1 billion for a campaign, and somehow found that campaign running in the red after the election results were done, and she got her clock cleaned by Donald Trump. So money is not going to necessarily win this when people know who you are.
It'll be interesting to see. I'll tell you that. Let's talk a little bit about people running, not running. When do the Republicans get involved? We'll do it after the break. I've got Representative Tim O'Driscoll on the program.
There are many ways to explore Alexandria. Some like to experience the outdoors and all the fun winter in Minnesota can provide. Pick your favorite way to get in touch with nature. Others like to explore downtown in the warm comfort of a boutique or gathered around a table with friends. You can do all of that or relax and do nothing at all. Come explore Alexandria. Start planning at explorealex.com.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
Are you kidding me?
You know that comment you said to the radio? The thing that we got wrong?
Clearly, Brussels sprouts are the worst vegetable.
Call us and let the world know your thoughts. 855-257-7469. That's 855-ALS-SHOW.
We've got a Representative Tim O'Driscoll on the program. Representative, we were talking about Governor Walz possibly running for the governorship again, his third trip. This guy really has the cards, almost all the cards for a lot of people, whether they're going to get what job when it comes to running for the Senate or the House. On the Senate side, because the lieutenant governor decided to run for that Senate seat, now has her in there. She's well known. Then Craig gets in. She's going to run for that Senate seat. She's reining in massive amounts of money. They're all waiting to see, because I thoroughly believe that if the governor drops out and says, no, I'm not running, one or two of these others will run for that spot. They'll pull out. They're going to run against, the big dogs. So the Democrats are all kind of held in check, waiting to see what the governor does. But he's pretty much done the same thing for Republicans, hasn't he? Now, I know we were talking after the session, people will get in. Well, then the shootings happen and the funerals, and I get this pushed back. But all we've heard now from Republicans are two very prominent ones that have gotten out. Senator Duckworth, I'm not going to get in. Senator Julia Coleman, another one who was thought to be taking one of these large spots, said no thank you. Are the Republicans done? Are we taking what we've got out there on the field now and that's it? Or do you think others are going to get in?
Again, it's been a kind of a fits and start 2025 for the legislature. If you're talking about candidates for governor from the legislature, the Democrats didn't show up for the first 3 weeks in the House. We got delayed that way. We didn't get the budget done by May 19th, and magically 3 weeks later, started 3 weeks late. 3 weeks later, we got a budget done in the special session. Maybe there's a math problem there.
Yeah.
And then the Melissa Hortman assassination, which by all counts is unacceptable type of activity. And there's a certain amount of etiquette, I think, and protocol that says you're not going to come out the day after the funeral and go, I'm now running, or during that, and try to grab attention. That's not the time to do it.
Sure.
I would suspect that now that we're kind of in the middle of summer, approaching the dog days of summer, there are candidates out there who are kind of vetting themselves and saying, what can we do? And maybe, making a few more calls to see what's happening. I suspect that after Labor Day, when school gets started, you're going to see things in earnest on that.
All right.
But I can tell you from personal experience, these jobs are a heck of a lot harder than they were when I first started, because there's just so many more demands on your time. There's just so many more issues. It's so much more polarized than it's ever been.
Yeah, I would have just imagined, I guess you talk about after Labor Day, I got to imagine you've got to be in if you're going to do it so you can get to the state fair, right? I mean, would you miss an entire state fair if you're going to run?
Good point.
Yep.
And if you're an outsider on here, looking to come in, kind of the Donald Trump idea, you've really never held office, and you're coming in and you're going to kind of try to run things the way a business does, or run it differently than the normal fare of government.
Yeah.
You got to, even if you're that person, get connected to some people who have some political know-how, because they're going to have to help navigate you through the political realms, regardless of what your pedigree is that brings you to the candidacy.
Absolutely true. One last topic, if I can, sir. The tragedy that happened down in Texas, it just, prayers to all those people. But it brings up, how are we sitting in Minnesota? I had a senator talking about up in, very northern Minnesota, that's very hard to get, tornado warnings and that sort of thing, because they're just in the cliffs and yada, yada. How well prepared is Minnesota with an early warning system for, here it's tornadoes? I guess, Mankato had some flooding last year, but we kind of knew it was happening. You know what I'm saying? It's not quite the same. Are we ready for it? Is Minnesota prepared?
I think generally Minnesota is prepared. There's different stages on this, right? It's been raining for several weeks, and now we're going to be getting more of those rising waters, where you watch that and can manage that, and human life and property is not in as much jeopardy or in as much peril, because you can start moving property, you can start begging, and moving people out of an area. It's where you get the deluge of things, and if you're talking flooding like they did in in Texas, where the skies just opened up and it came and it came and it came and it came. One thing that we have that we didn't have prevalent about, I'll even go back, say 15 to 20 years ago, is that we have people with cell phones, right? And they carry those closer to them than they carry their own children.
True.
And there are, how many times have you gotten an alert on something on your phone? I know I do. And I think that that's what will be the thing that will tell people more so than the tornado or severe weather sirens. And what people forget about the severe weather sirens is they're not to alert people inside buildings. They're to alert people who are out and away from media or devices or things that can alert them that there's bad weather imminent that's coming and seek shelter. And so internally, the television, your cell phone, computer pop-ups, different kinds of things. I think that's the future of where you're going to see more of the alerts coming to people and getting them into this. Other kinds of tragedies, again, the quick severe weather, the storms this time of the year that we're prone to seeing in Minnesota, hot, humid days, as you were talking about earlier in our discussion, that all of a sudden become major and heavy and violent storms. Those are things, again, I think with the cell phones and the cable TVs and even your landline system, we'll have to find a way to have an early warning system on that.
Well, see, and again, laws. Less laws is better, and we're never going to get rid of all tragedies, right? We're never going to be prepared for anything. But I think you're right with this, warning sirens outside trying to cover all of the state of Minnesota. More than likely, I think the deal is, okay, Verizon, okay, whatever, the Starlink guy, if you want to have satellites and run phones in our area, then you have to be ready and adaptable. Come up with a program that sends an email out or a text message, a warning sign to everybody in this county or whatever it is. And I think that's the way you go.
Al, I don't know that that's the case, right? I don't think it's the companies that are saying we're resistant to that. I just don't know that we have developed a system and a protocol to use that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That'd be the next step, because that infrastructure is there, if you will. Between Starlink, you can almost get a phone cell call almost anywhere in the state of Minnesota now. How do we set it up that say, great, when this sheriff says Verizon hit this button, it's going to send a warning? I don't know how all that would work. I really don't. But that's probably the better way.
Let me help you with where the problem is going to be on this.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a great idea. I think we're generally in agreement that would be a great idea. And our listeners today are probably going, that makes some sense. Okay, Al Travis lives in the area code that Al Travis lives in, the 507 area code. Al Travis moves over to the 605 area code over to Wisconsin. Did Al still get the alerts from 507? But he's no longer in that area code. So
Okay.
how do you parse that and filter that out of it?
We got to get Elon Musk on this phone call next week, okay? Because I don't know how to do that, but I know my watch can tell me if I'm 37 yards from hole number one or if I'm 40 yards from hole number one. The phones know where you're at. I would presume you get them for the area you're in. I think they could probably do. I don't know how satellites work.
Talk about the number, right? People keep the number and they move.
Yeah.
Stand that because, oh my gosh, every security thing and double verification and a backflip to make sure that nobody else is getting into your account kind of thing. You got to have your dang phone to punch a code in.
No, you're absolutely right. This is going to be much smarter people than me. Representative, love having you on the program. Thanks for doing this for me. We're out of time.
Take care.
Representative Tim O'Driscoll on the Al Travis Show.